Something must have been a little. into regular session. And the first item tonight will be the Pledge of Allegiance. If you would all rise, please, and say with us. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have approval of minutes from June 21st and July 5th. I need a motion, please.
So moved. Second.
Second. Any discussion or comments? Seeing none, Sean, please call the roll.
Mrs. Yingling?
Yes.
Mrs. Batchy?
Yes.
Mr. Wise?
Abstain on B and yes on C.
Mr. Galvin?
Yes.
Mr. Orr?
Yes.
Thank you. Next up, we have some presentations tonight, and Tracy, I believe you have the first opportunity.
Yeah, I'm excited the board has decided as a way of kind of making sure that we're shining a light on the things that are so important to our district, our big rocks of culture, inclusive excellence, and personalized learning. Jonathan, as our superintendent, has had a metaphor of journeys that we've been going on. And some of the time when you're on a journey, you need some cairns and wayfinding moments to help you along the way. Well, we're fortunate that those rocks ground us where we're going in 2030 and beyond, but also every moment in our time. And so we wanted to begin to, at our board meetings, lift up some of those moments that happen. And so we're starting tonight, launching that with our very first kind of Mason moment, wayfinding moment that's actually kind of took place this summer, featuring two of our Mason Early Childhood Center comets.
$2,679. It was really fun giving it to the school because it would just make a big difference.
A worker of mine, he shared my name with Chelsea, and that's how she got my name. And so, which I was shocked by, and that's very generous for them to support our classroom. And then as it grew and grew, Chelsea would tell me like, oh, we're here. I'm like, oh my goodness, that's a lot of money. So then I was able to share it with 7 other teachers. So we're splitting that number or that check with 7 other teachers in our building.
I just loved giving lemonade because it was just helping others. And we love it.
Well, Finley and Hadley, right? Is that the two friends here? Are just an inspiration. So I hope you're watching this and you hear from us that we are so grateful for your generosity, the ambition, just all the energy and thought process that went into putting together your own lemonade stand. So thank you for inspiring us. Thank you for being a wayfinder for us and helping us understand what Mason culture is really all about. So thanks. Board, if you have any comments, I know they'll probably watch this at some point. I don't think they're in here physically right now, but they'll definitely watch this.
Say, I think they're due a round of applause by everybody that got to watch this video. So,
That's pretty impressive. I have heard some stories about some lemonade stands joining forces with some already established ideas and organizations, and some pretty terrific sums. And I know, Jonathan, one of your kids was involved in a similar event, and it's just great to see this community support the kids, and the kids really find a way to have an impact. They're just so smart, so determined.
Well, thank you, Tracy, for putting that together. This is something, a tradition that we're starting, or a rhythm this year during our board meetings, to start with an example of a story that's coming out of Mason. So you will have to look forward to seeing those, and then I think they get released right after this. So you're the first to view this, and then it gets pushed out to the rest of our public. So this will be exciting. Please share it with your friends, family, and thank you to the 2 teachers that also made this possible, and then the 7 teachers that split this up and is sharing that with our students. It's such a great example of kids going above and beyond and doing things that we love to see here at Mason. Our next presentation, speaking of going above and beyond, serving our community. And when I say serving our community, I mean serving the world, because the 3 students that we will have up, Nithya, Rashika, and Tanya, I'm going to have the 3 of you come up in just a second, if you would. These ladies, these leaders are just outstanding examples, an inspiration. I get goosebumps when I think about all of the things that they have done in our world to inspire not only us, but those around us. They are the Congressional Gold Award winners, and I will not steal their thunder and tell you all about that. I want them to tell you a little bit about what it takes to get there, and then we'll be able to ask them some questions. So, ladies, if you would please come to the up to the microphone here, and I'll let you all tell a little bit about it, and then we'll maybe have some questions for you. But first of all, congratulations. We're really proud. And you can move the stand around if it's more comfortable. I'll move it closer to you, and then I'll feel comfortable here. If you want to stand there, I can.
Yeah, that's better.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
You're welcome. So, go right there?
Yeah.
Great. You can just talk right
Good evening, everyone. First of all, thank you so much for this opportunity and inviting us here just to share our story and our journey of the Congressional Gold Award. So I'll just share a little bit about the Congressional Award in general, and you guys feel free to pitch in. The Congressional Award is the only nonprofit by the Congress and the highest award that a youth civilian can get in the nation. They created this award just to help inspire kids to create goals and go through a journey and just kind of learn a lot about commitment and dedication and explore a lot more interests. So that's kind of just what the gist of the Congressional Award is. The Congressional Award has 6 different levels. It starts with the bronze certificate, then the silver certificate, the gold certificate, the bronze medal, silver medal, and gold medal. And each level takes an amount of hours, and they give you like a time range to do the work in, and you have to do work in 4 different areas. Do you guys want to explain what the 4 different areas are?
Yeah, so we've put in time in personal development, physical fitness, going on an excavation or exploration, and voluntary service. And throughout all of these different activities, it's been a cumulative of over 800 hours in each of these activities, which we've developed over the past few years. And it's been an absolutely amazing experience.
Yeah, it really is all about personal growth and just volunteering and just getting yourself out there, leadership, volunteering, community service, all of those things combined basically is what basically makes the Congressional Award, sorry.
And can you just remind us too, and I know you're so humble you wouldn't share this, but you are gold recipients of this award, is that correct?
That is correct.
And how many people from Ohio received that level of award?
I believe this year it was about 6 people from Ohio.
I think there were 10 people from
10
Ohio.
people from Ohio.
3 people were from Mason, and then we had, I think, around 550 people around the nation win it this year.
That's amazing. So 3 of those 10 are right here in front of us right now, which is such a great thing. Can you also share a little bit of maybe a highlight from the journey? Because it really was a journey of these 800 and plus hours, like maybe one thing that you really wanted to highlight that you've learned about from this experience.
Yeah, so for me personally, it has been like a roller coaster because I started like at the very beginning, like as soon as I could, like as soon as I was eligible to start working for the Congressional Award. I started right after 8th grade around that time, and COVID hit, and it was like super taxing on mental health. I personally like deal with a lot of social anxiety, so I got to help people like go through like their process their emotions, their mental health, and I've took on meditation. It has been super just healing, and I'm actually part of the SIBS club at MHS, and I've been able to just help people through like random acts of kindness. It doesn't matter how small it is, it can make a huge difference on someone else. Just like going next to someone and like sitting next to them if they have no one else to sit with at lunch. Throughout like the past couple of years, I have started the initiative Ecodharma, which works to preserve Earth through an Indic perspective. We've actually arranged numerous cleanups throughout this state, Ohio, and we've picked up like a bunch of litter everywhere, and we actually donate money to like credible organizations like Save Soil, and like UNICEF, and For Ocean. And yeah, it has been like a super like rewarding journey. I've personally like grown so much from it. Another thing that's maybe not as important, but for me it is very important. I've gotten over my fear of heights. I've went hiking at like Grand Canyon, Zion National Park. Yeah, and I got over my fear of heights, and yeah.
For me, so when I started my Congressional Award journey, it seemed kind of intimidating at the beginning, to see the amount of hours it was just to get the Congressional Gold Medal, because that was the ultimate goal for me, to go all the way from there. But that's when I realized the Congressional Award isn't just about getting the award, but it's about the journey throughout. So I was able to start, I initially applied for the bronze certificate, just kind of like a trial of everything I had done. And after that, I was able to set goals for each level and keep going after that. And after that, I got the Congressional Gold Award, and I think the best part of that was the award itself was just like the icing on the cake, but the memories and the experiences I got were a lot better. So through voluntary public service, I was able to work more on my nonprofit Little Helpers. We do a lot about giving back to the community and spreading inspiration and just kind of inspiring other kids to give back as well. I also started like a girls in STEM club at the middle school just so that we could get more girls into the STEM field and inspire more kids from there. And the expedition part was definitely my favorite. So like Nithya mentioned, when COVID hit, it was a lot more different because it was obviously hard to go to places and things like that. But luckily my family were still able to take me to various places across the country. And I based my exploration on a lot of space museums. I want to do something astrobiology related in the future, so probably become like a doctor and go into space. So I went to 5 different space museums across the nation just as an exploration to see all the things that they had to offer. It started in Ohio. I went to Wright-Patterson. I went down to Alabama. I went to the United States Space and Rocket Center. And then down to Georgia, where I went to the Coca-Cola Space Center. Down to Florida, where there was the Kennedy Space Center. And back up to Virginia, NASA Langley Space Center. And throughout the whole journey, it was a lot of planning and perseverance and responsibility, but I'm really happy that I was able to take away a lot of positives, and I've learned a lot that now I can apply just for my schoolwork and stuff. And my advisors and validators who helped signed off on my hours and guided me, they were mostly Mason City teachers. My advisor was Mrs. Ashford, my 7th grade history teacher, actually. So I'm just very thankful for the support I got from the school, them, and my family.
I've also really appreciated the support that I've gotten from Mason City schools and my family in just getting all of these opportunities and being able to be a part of so many amazing things. So I'm a part of our school's speech and debate team, and I've just learned so much about speaking and expressing yourself, and I basically do an event where you get to talk about whatever you want, so it's a lot of fun. And then I'm also part of our school's Inclusive Excellence and Big Rock team, and that's part of what I did as my voluntary public service. And it's just been amazing to be a part of making an impact on our school and just learning about what goes into everything that makes the culture of Mason what it is. I've just had an amazing time in learning and positiveness and just being uplifted by all of my teachers and peers, and getting to be behind the scenes and continue to be a part of that as a student is something I really appreciate. And then I also run a nonprofit organization called Realize to Act, which is another part of my congressional award journey. So we really focus on programs that expand opportunity. I work with a school district down in the Dayton, Kentucky area, and then we've also been working with Fairfield schools, and we've also worked with Mason City schools in the past. And at this point, I think we've provided about 600 backpacks to students along with school supplies. And I have learned a lot about what opportunities are really important, as I have had so many opportunities in my life as a Mason student that has just become really important to me to be able to give back to my community. And I'm really excited for the future from the support that I've gotten.
Thank you all and congratulations.
If you don't mind, I have a question for you all. One, did you guys know each other before you started the journey? Or did you meet along the way, the three of you?
I think we all knew each other, but I don't think we actually knew that we were going to end up at the same destination for our journey. Actually, we all kind of found out this year that we were all recipients. So that was like a really nice bonding moment, just where we all were able to share our own experiences and learn like what the highlights of our journeys were.
Interesting. All right, so you didn't have a sleepover and say, hey, let's go for the Congressional Award in 8th grade. So this was just an individual decision each of you made on your own.
It was definitely a really cool coincidence that we all ended up going on that same path and being in the same place this year.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, congratulations to all three of you. Very impressive.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank you for sharing your story.
I heard Nithya say you went to the Grand Canyon and Zion National Park. I'm interested
Yes.
in where else you guys went on an expedition or trip as part of this.
So that's primarily where we went, but we went to Universal Studios, and there's like a bunch of roller coasters there, and that's like, I made it a goal to like ride every single ride. We were there from like morning until sundown, and I rode every single ride there. I'm like, I'm going to push myself to ride every single ride to get over my fear of heights, and now I can successfully say that I can like go to Kings Island without like chickening out of riding like the bigger rides, and I just really love hiking in general. So that was part of my physical fitness too, actually.
Awesome.
That's phenomenal. That's just an unbelievable journey of what I know that you've gone through. Dr. Cooper was able to tell me a little bit about this last week, and I've been awaiting this presentation. To have 10 people in Ohio out of 500 in the country, and 3 of them right here, that's pretty heartwarming, and it's very impressive. I'm grateful to have young people like you in our community. Tanya, I've had some other personal interaction with you as working on the newspaper in particular. And yeah, you all three are very, very good at expressing yourselves. And I commend you for taking a personal challenge to focus on your own growth and impact the future, not just for yourself, but for others. It's an incredible accomplishment. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
You guys should be very proud, and thank you for being role models to your peers about what's possible if you commit yourself to a journey. This isn't, I mean, what you have to do to earn that is onerous, and so for you guys to chart that out and track it and achieve it, I'm just awed. So congratulations and good luck in the future. You guys have got off to a great start.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I just want to say, you know, building on Mr. Orr's point, your classmates look at you and they watch you and they see your accomplishments and you inspire them. Only problem is, at the age they're at, sometimes they don't express that, but they suck all that up. They see it and you impact them. It might not be tomorrow, but it might be a few years from now. And so that's part of the kind of culture around here that makes it special, is that students do take their gifts and they express them in this way. And so we appreciate what you've done to add to that culture. I can also see some very proud parents here, and I know they've been along on your journey and supported you along the way. And that's also part of the Mason culture, is to have parents that are supportive of these kind of high goals that kids want to set. So thanks to each of you and the families for being here. So.
If you come up here, we'd love to shake your hand, and I know Tracy wants to get a picture of you, and we have a small gift for you.
Congratulations. So do you have a Kings Island pass? You do now, right? Congratulations. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Take care of it.
I might have Desiree and Connie come on the other side. Yep, and then we might reach up. There we go.
After Tracy's finished, stay still for just a second for parents.
Awesome.
Okay, everybody hold still for a second. Smiles, great smiles.
Thank you.
My wife will tell you that's like my least favorite thing. Get the angle.
Inspiring others. Thank you, family. Appreciate you being here.
Horses you get.
It's been a while.
Give our attention to.
Thank you so much.
I'll just take 2 minutes of your
Yep.
time. The reason I want to do that is I really want to tell you how much
I'll take a little picture of
Mason and
this.
Mason School. We moved here when she was in 8th grade, and it was a very difficult decision. She was very well established in the school district she was.
And we come here out of the blue, and she's the one who picked Mason. We were open to go anywhere to Ohio to see research, and we are here. And long story short, like you mentioned, that how it is hard for sometimes students to connect with other students because they're all growing at different pace. And she had such a difficult time because she is a very loving and amazing kid, but to connect with a peer has been a challenge. And she moves here, the first year is tough, and then she gets introduced to Big Rock and and suddenly she's among kids who are like-minded. And I think that could have happened in very few places. And Mason, and I was like so thankful that we picked up Mason and she felt so much at home. And not only that, the community has been so supportive. Mr. Cooper has been so supportive, and she suddenly has friends she can talk to who have things to share or kind of goals which are somewhat similar to her. And I cannot begin to tell you how thankful I am of how amazing efforts you have put in to build this school and bring it where they are, that these kids get the support which kind of enables them. Because at the end of the day, they are kids, and no matter how good they are, you need that environment where they can grow. And as a family, honestly, they spend more time in school and in this environment than at home at this point. So I cannot thank enough to you guys for providing her this environment too, and to the kids to do what she loves to do and get the support. And yeah, she just loves, she absolutely loves her school, and that's wonderful.
That's awesome.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So, yeah, thank you so much. And
Thank
please,
you.
we really appreciate what you do.
Yeah, you bet.
Thank you for sharing that.
That's fantastic feedback, and we're grateful. That's the goal.
Now, we have a gift for you, right? They might not know, but you can deliver it.
John, you give her the mug.
Or the medal. Or the medal.
I saw one of the dads looking at the length of the rest of the agenda, turning the pages.
Oh, you mean the, how we'll let them, sorry, I was a little slow on that. We usually do take a break at this point. If you'd like to leave and get on with your evening homework or other family activities. If not, and you want to stay, we are happy to have you.
Thank you all.
But you won't hurt our feelings.
Yeah, you won't hurt our feelings.
Not at all.
No offense taken.
It happens every meeting.
Night.
Thank you for being here tonight. We do appreciate it very much.
Have a good night. Your name is?
Tanya, are you doing the school newspaper this year again?
Chronicle team how to interview.
Yeah, that one got me. Okay, moving on. Next up, we have hearing of the public, and I don't believe we have any speakers tonight.
Nothing tonight.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Next up is item 7, administrative personnel, superintendent's recommendations. I need a motion, please.
So moved.
A second.
Second.
Thank you. Any comments or questions?
Yeah, just a really quick reminder of, so during the summer, we have July 10th is kind of a special timeline moment that we have in our world where people are moving from one district to the next district, if that is a choice. That happens right around up to that point. And so we want to wish Lauren Gentine, who is the middle school principal for my time here. She was the first principal that I hired in as a principal, I believe, if I have my timeline right. We had a couple principals we were hiring in at that time. And so we just wish her the best. She has gone to Indian Hill. She's been at Indian Hill as a teacher, came back here, which we are grateful for, and now back at Indian Hill. And doing what she loves to do as a middle school principal. So we're grateful for her leadership here, contribution, and then also wish her the very best in her new role. When that happened and we found the information out, we were at that time in the summer where we had to make some decisions. And so instead of going through a full search for the next principal, we decided that with the timing that we had, we were going to go ahead and ask the assistant principal to move into that role. So Jay Reuter was a principal there for a length of time I don't really have off the top of my head, I think 20 some years in the district. And so we asked him to step into the role as an interim for this year so that we could make sure that there was not a lot of transition going on in the building, more than necessary that late in the summer. He was willing to step into that. We were grateful for that. So he's coming into the role, and then we will open that position up mid-year. I think Tanya and I were talking today about a January time frame to begin to post that information out there. So if there are people that are interested in that as well, that will be posted out there around the January time frame. And we're grateful for the other assistant principals stepping up and understanding that transition and how they could help. And you'll see later in the agenda that we also then asked one of our if you're not familiar with our structure, we have learning experience designers, which is another leadership role that teachers have in our district. And that is a leadership role preparing those leaders to have a contribution in our district. And so one of those LEDs, as we refer to them, learning experience designers, moved in as an interim assistant principal in that same time frame to help us to fill that role in the July time frame there. So you'll see that come up later in the agenda, but I thought it'd be worth. And why this is showing up now is because this is the first regular meeting that we've had since all of that happened, since it happened so late in summer. So all that to say, that's the process that we've gone through, and here's where we are.
Any other comments or questions?
Well, we certainly wish Ms. Gentine well. She's a Mason Comet through and through, so she'll have to reconcile that at the school down south there. But we certainly wish her well, and we'll always be her hometown. So that's what I'll say about that.
Great.
And fortunate to have somebody like Jay in a position, in a tough timing situation for the middle school, to have somebody with that experience and willingness to slide in on a short notice. So.
And the willingness of our staff to step up and really be ready for that, because even then we had a teacher move into an LED role right after that. So it just had this ripple effect where everyone was, thank goodness, everyone was just willing to step up into the next role. So as Jay moved into there, Dan Little moved into his role, Jocelyn moved into her role, and so that helped us to just move quickly.
Yeah, the domino effect for sure.
Yeah,
with
and that's
those
hard to
other
do in July, but we're really grateful for the staff we have willing to do that.
I think it speaks to the talent that's around the place, that people can fill those roles, not
Right.
just, not amicably, but very well, and keep things moving forward, Mason quality, and so proud of each and every one of them, and hope Lauren crushes it at Indian Hill.
She will.
We know she will. The next comment. Okay, Sean, please call the roll.
Mrs. Batchy?
Yes.
Mr. Wise?
Yes.
Mr. Galvin?
Yes.
Mr. Orr?
Yes.
Mrs. Yingling?
Yes.
5-0.
Item 8, non-district funded positions. I need a motion, please.
So moved.
And a second.
Second?
We have a lot on this agenda, as you mentioned. Dr. Cooper?
Yeah, this is a full, you'll see throughout the agenda, we're setting up basically all of the things that are going on at the beginning of the year. So one thing we always we're just grateful because you'll see so many opportunities on this agenda, and it's all possible because of the staff that step into those roles. So I want to thank all of our staff that steps into this, and as non-district funded positions, these are funded by a lot of times booster organizations and parents that we even saw tonight that are making those opportunities available for above and beyond for our kids. So just really grateful for that.
Absolutely. It's a lot of responsibility people are picking up. Any other comments, questions? Seeing none, Sean, please call the roll.
Mr. Wise?
Yes.
Mr. Galvin?
Yes.
Mr. Orr?
Yes.
Mrs. Yingling?
Yes.
Mrs. Batchy?
Yes.
5-0.
Thank you. Item 9 is next certified personnel, superintendent's recommendation. Again, quite a few items to fulfill. Any comments from you, Dr. Cooper?
Yeah, the only thing just to mention, so you make the,
Oh, I'm sorry, did
Oh,
I
go
miss?
ahead.
Need a motion
So moved.
and a
Second.
thank you. Now, Dr. Cooper, if you
yeah, sorry, I just jumped right in. Just a couple of things really quick on here, just so you make the connection to the earlier comments on item A. You'll see the temporary change in status. So thank you again to Jocelyn and for Dan for stepping into those roles quickly. We also have a resignation on here. I just want to wish Sarah the best. She's just an amazing teacher, and she had an opportunity to go back close to family. And so we wish her the very best. I think I saw a classroom picture on Twitter from where she is. You're welcome back to Common Country anytime as well. So as soon as you're ready, we'll get you back here. And then appointments. I just thank Tanya and crew, because the list of substitute teachers on this is, I mean, off the page. So if you remember, we've spent a lot of time trying to make sure we build the most attractive pipeline for substitute teachers. I know Tanya and her team have done that well, and this list it's a long one. So we appreciate all these people signing up to be a part of our team.
Absolutely. And Tanya, we do know that world right now is kind of up and down. You can find workers sometimes, and sometimes you can't. So thank you for your work on that. Appreciate it very much. Any other comments? Seeing none. Sean?
Mr. Galvin?
Yes.
Mr. Orr?
Yes.
Mrs. Youngling?
Yes.
Mrs. Abachi?
Yes.
Mr. Wise?
Yes.
5-0.
Thank you. Item 10, certified adjustments of salary, superintendent's recommendations. I need a motion, please.
Second?
Thank you. Comments, questions?
Just a reminder of this section: when our our certified staff continue to earn a certain amount of hours beyond their graduate or their undergraduate degree into their master's plus 15 and 30, they do have bumps along the way. So that's just congratulations to them for completing that work, and thank you for being lifelong learners. And this is what shows up as a reflection in our agenda tonight.
Yep. And a lot of this is just teachers wanting to make themselves better for our students.
Yep.
We really appreciate that. Sean, please call the roll.
Mr. Orr?
Yes.
Mrs. Youngling?
Yes.
Mrs. Abachi?
Yes.
Mr. Wise?
Yes.
Mr. Galvin?
Yes.
5-0.
Thank you. Item 11, supplemental personnel, superintendent's recommendation. I need a motion, please.
So moved.
A second.
Second.
Thank you. Comments, questions?
My only comment for this item and the next on the agenda is just thank you again to all of the folks that signed up for just so many different opportunities for our kids. It's amazing.
Any other comments? Seeing none. Sean, please call the roll.
Mrs. Youngling?
Yes.
Mrs. Abachi?
Yes.
Mr. Wise?
Yes.
Mr. Galvin?
Yes.
Mr. Orr?
Yes.
5-0.
Next up is item 12, resolution for hiring non-certified personnel. Superintendent's recommendations. I need a motion, please.
So moved.
And a second.
Second.
Thank you. Any comments or questions? Seeing none. Sean, please call the roll.
Mrs. Abachi?
Yes.
Mr. Wise?
Yes.
Mr. Galvin?
Yes.
Mr. Orr?
Yes.
Mrs. Youngling?
Yes.
5-0.
Next up, item 13, classified personnel, superintendent's recommendations. I need a motion.
So moved.
Second?
Comments, questions?
Only comments on here, just again, congratulations to those that are new, that are coming on board as part of our team. And then just a congratulations and best wishes to those that are at the retirement status. We're just thankful for your service and wish you the very best in your next steps.
Absolutely. Sean, please call the roll.
Mr. Wise?
Yes.
Mr. Galvin?
Yes.
Mr. Orr?
Yes.
Mrs. Youngling?
Yes.
Mrs. Abachi?
Yes.
5-0.
Thank you. Item 14, certified personnel, additional duties. I need a motion, please.
So moved.
And a second.
Second.
Comments, questions? This is some additional work that we typically have done over the summer as needed.
It is, yep, as
For our
needed. You'll
teachers.
see on here the reflection of those, that there's this idea that there's not work that happens all the time during the summer. It's actually a really busy time, and so you'll see some of that reflected on here as well.
Yes, there is no break in the school year, really. Not for us.
Just a different kind of work.
Any other comments? Seeing none. Sean, please call the roll.
Mr. Galvin?
Yes.
Mr. Orr?
Yes.
Mrs. Youngling?
Yes.
Mrs. Abachi?
Yes.
Mr. Wise?
Yes.
5-0.
Next is item 15, classified personnel, additional duties. I need a motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Comments or questions?
You know, this is also reflective of the work that needs to be done when it comes to extended care, but also you'll see on here summer screenings for English learners. I believe I heard today, and I can't remember, that we have, I think, 900 roughly, is that right? Roughly English learners identified in our district at this point in time. Where just a few years ago, I think we were around 400 if I was just picking up on that conversation. So it is, I mean, we have 75 languages spoken here, and there's lots of services that happen at all kinds of levels, which we're really grateful for. But it keeps us hopping. But you'll see on here there's a lot of screening that happens as well as we prepare for the year.
Yep, that's a really big deal in this district.
Yeah.
Any other comments or questions? Seeing none, Sean, please call the roll.
Mr. Orr?
Yes.
Mrs. Yangling?
Yes.
Mrs. Batchy?
Yes.
Mr. Wise?
Yes.
Mr. Galvin?
Yes.
5-0.
And next up is item 16, action items, superintendent recommendations. I need a motion, please.
So move.
Second.
Second.
And Jonathan, do you have any?
Yeah, I'll try to summarize some of these. There are a lot of items on here, again, setting up for the beginning of the year. Several of these items are agreements with organizations that support students with special needs that maybe we don't have the resources available to them. So there are placements on here and that all comes about during the IEP process. We work with the families and we find settings that give them the exact support that their child needs. So you'll see a lot of that on here. You also see the Center for Applied Research and Educational Improvement. That's a really exciting piece that we're working with, and Amy and her team have developed a plan for how we support all learners, even more so whether you're in the classroom and maybe things just aren't, you're not finding that way, and we're trying different strategies. There are other possible interventions that we can begin looking at, but there's also data that supports that, and how do we look at that, and how do we build systems in place to support learners at different levels. And so this group is helping us form that, and we've got I think a couple of years that we're working with them to build capacity in our district for that. C is Unified Insights. This is our hope for building a data system and having a data system that allows us to really make data-informed decisions and build more capacity when it comes to data-driven decisions and finding trends. And so we already have our information with PowerSchool. That's part of, we call it a student information system. This is a whole nother data component that allows us to do some more data analysis that we've been wanting to do for a while. We've tried it, we've looked at a couple of different systems and they just have not fit the bill. So we're hoping this one gives us more of a broad look at some of those trends and allows us to make more informed decisions to provide and allocate services for all of our students.
Is that the first time we're getting this much in this exact package?
This will be our first time with this data insights program, and the implementation process is over I want to say it's probably a 6-month implementation process, so it's not something that will happen overnight, but by the end of our year, we should be up and running and have great insights for what our data is telling us and be more predictive in some of the things that we're doing and help us to make decisions for next year. It helps us to support and monitor our OKRs as well, our objectives and key results. I remember when Mr. Orr was coming in and talking, and we were doing kind of a tour of all of our teams and saying, what's one thing that would be nice to have? One of the things that came up a couple times in a couple of the groups was a system for looking at our data holistically for our principals, for our teachers, and so this is one of those that we're hoping that will help us with that process.
So this is an ad that we've been looking at for a while and wanting to get and needing the information.
Yeah, it's gone through quite a bit of a process. We've looked at, actually what's interesting is we reached out to other districts that are like us looking for similar processes. There was a University of Dayton graduate team that did a full program analysis of several different systems, and this was the top program that they would recommend based on all the things that we would need in our district. So,
excellent.
Yep. So it's been through a program review and some other things. And then I think the only other one, I'm going through this quickly, but the other one that I would like to just like highlight on here so that you see it, and just another thank you, would be the resolution for the appointment for the Great Oaks Career Campus Governing Board. So some people watching might not realize, but we have a liaison on your behalf as a board that also serves on the Great Oaks Board. And Joe Schroeder has been our liaison. He came on a couple years ago, I believe, or just, I lost track of time, but I think it was a couple of years ago. Joe is a great liaison because this is what he does in Warren County with the whole idea of helping our students and helping students around Warren County with that whole career development piece and finding how we can partner with different companies. So being a part of Great Oaks, he's loved it. I know that they just love having him on the board, and he's already opened up some opportunities for pathways and works with our principals and some of those things and opening up opportunities for our kids. So I want to thank Joe for his service on that because, again, it's another board assignment that he's a part of. So thank you, Joe. That's all I have for now.
Any other questions or comments? Seeing none. Sean, please call the roll.
Mrs. Yingling?
Yes.
Mrs. Abachi?
Yes.
Mr. Wise?
Yes.
Mr. Galvin?
Yes.
Mr. Orr?
Yes.
5-0.
Next is item 17. It's the Treasurer's Report. I need a motion, please.
So moved.
Second?
Thank you. Sean, do you have any highlights or comments for us?
Sure. Just a couple things. It has been a few weeks since we've had our last regular meeting, which was early July, so you'll see 2 months worth of financial reports on here for approval. And then under the donation section, it seems like every month we're approving some kind of donations to the comment cupboard, so thanks to Casey Moran and her crew for seeking those out to enable us to help kids and families. And then down at the very bottom of the donation section, you'll see the little girls in the video we had up here earlier, Hadley and Finley Wirtz's lemonade stand. You see their donation for $2,679 to the MECC building and to help fund some needs there in the classrooms. So thank you so much to them.
We consistently enjoy the generosity of our community in so many ways. They do a great job of supporting all kinds of different pieces of our school world and different levels of students and different interests of students. And it's always kind of impressive to look over that throughout the year and see what the kindness of folks will do. So we're grateful for that. Any other comments, questions? Sean, I wanted to make note of your highlight to the board in preparation for this meeting tonight. You always give us a treasurer's memo. The information that you gave us, you choose an area to highlight each meeting, and I appreciate that. This is on transportation, and we don't very often get a chance to talk about that except in the beginning of the year, sometimes when things go wrong with bus schedules, but we've been blessed the past several years with that. But this is great information, and I thank you for taking the time to do those reports, in particular this one. And it's available to our public if they have any questions about our transportation.
Sure.
Thank you for that.
No problem.
Okay, next item
We'll take a
is-
vote on the,
We got to vote.
Vote to.
Ready to vote on that one?
Oh, vote on the Treasury Report, yes.
Mrs. Abachi?
Yes.
Mr. Wise?
Yes.
Mr. Galvin?
Yes.
Mr. Orr?
Yes.
Mrs. Yingling?
Thank you.
5-0.
Yes, thank you. Okay, now we'll do number 18, which is committee assignments. We've had a few committee meetings since the last meeting. Arts and activities.
Tracy or Tanya, you want to take that one?
We had really just one action item. We needed to approve a trip for the Model UN, who is continuing to do incredible things. And so they will be going on a trip September 30th to October 2nd. So that was really our first major active business for this school year, but our school groups are already busy and at it. And it was really great to see all the people who've come through, but really our staff and volunteers who've stepped up to be the advisors for all of those clubs and groups. We know when we talk to our kids, those connections, and we heard it even in here tonight, those connections and those activities are often how they are really building the relationship and really what their Mason quality experience is. So it is not easy for our staff and those parent advisors and volunteers who step up. And even on something like this Model UN trip, there are parents who have gone through all the background checks, who've done all of the things, who've gone through our Stewards of Children training who are allowing things like Model UN and speech and debate to compete every week and go and travel. So many thanks to them.
Thank you, Tracy. Next, we had Facilities Committee.
Todd, you want to give them?
Sure, thank you. We looked at, we're able to purchase turf for the softball and baseball fields. Our plan is to have contracts with various softball and baseball organizations to pay that money back over about a 10-year period. We're also talking about possibly adding new space. We are adding new space. We actually decided to go out to bid for MECC during that meeting as well. So we're hopeful that will be back on September 13th.
Thank you. Next, Mason Schools Foundation.
Our big kind of news to just put on everybody's radar is there isn't a gala this year. So if you've been waiting in your mail to get your gala invite, or you are really trying to dust off your classy, elegant suit, you can let that rest, because instead you need to go to Tailgate, which we all want to go to anyway, which is September 16th, Friday night. And you know, that's always just a huge, important community event, right? Like, we enjoy it. We are usually the LWT Game of the Week, so it's a pump-up time, but it'll be a really important time to unveil our donor wall. So the Mason Schools Foundation, over the last 12, 13 years, we've had some really important community members and businesses who've stepped up to help make sure that we have an endowment that's over $1 million, that have put every year funding $100,000 worth of grants back to our schools. This is our opportunity to recognize those donors and to really celebrate as a community what the foundation has been able to do already and what we're poised to do in the future. So come to Tailgate, do that with us, celebrate that moment, and then start bidding on the silent auction. So even though we're not having a gala, we are not stopping our opportunities to give back, to get some really exciting experiences. I think even the board is putting something in this year into that silent auction that should be pretty fun. So stay tuned, be ready for that.
We are now.
Whether we were or not before, we are now.
Decision has been made.
That's the deal right there.
And it should be a great, we hope, a wonderful fundraiser, and certainly, most importantly, an opportunity for everyone in our community who just cares about taking kids above and beyond, get behind that organization and helping us do that.
Is that on the same night, Tracy, the online auction and the tailgate, everything all together?
Yeah, the auction begins, the silent auction begins then, goes for a week. So you can start. In fact, I think at the football game we have some ideas to put some things up on the big screen so that folks even in the stands can help be part of that. But we'd love to make sure that you're continuing just like you would in a regular event. You can continue to monitor your bids and keep bidding often during that week.
Early bid often.
Yes.
Bid against yourself.
Yes.
You can.
Okay, thank you, Tracy. Safe and inviting schools.
You know, all I've asked for 7 years is not to have to speak after Tracy. She's always so enthusiastic. You know, if you look at it, it's like a roller coaster. Here's Tracy, here's Todd. Here's Todd. So at Safe and Inviting, we talked about reunification. How's that, Miss Carson? We actually are looking at, we have a great product already that we use that has been built in-house to, if we have reunification, to locate all of our students, which we pray never happens. But we're always looking for something better, more efficient, and just will get the job done for us to keep our kids safe. So we were looking at Raptor Technologies, what they have to offer. So we are going to continue to look. We may end up with that one, but we are going to continue to look. So.
Nice, nicely done.
Appreciate you, Todd.
Very strong ending.
Still not, Tracy.
You're close. Mr. Carson, as we should call him.
We are enthusiastic about the involvement that we had at your meeting, because there were.
Yeah.
We had
was
all the
packed.
police there, we had safety folks, Christine and team, our team, and just looking at the technology integration. So there is a lot, a lot that goes into that. Good work.
Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate that. Next up is item 19, legislative update.
Yeah, just a couple things. I mean, there is a list of legislation that we will be watching closely because remember I told you back in the spring that it's going to come back to the fall. And I think right around election time, all this will heat up and people will come back into session. And so there's legislation in here, House Bill 492 with the mental health training for coaches is one of the things that's on the books. There's House Bill 497, elimination of the third grade guarantee is something that's out there that they're looking at. There's all kinds of teacher transparency bills that we'll pay close attention to see how that would impact us locally, because obviously we want to have local control of what we do and don't do here and make sure we're thinking that through. There's other pending legislation that there'll be committee hearings that we will pay close attention to that are coming up. So there's a long list, all those things to watch, and we will watch them closely. The thing that's probably closest in terms of action is it's not really through the legislative process formally in the sense that I was just speaking of, but I know that Lieutenant Governor John Husted was talking recently about, and they had a first hearing for this, and a second hearing is coming up on the 30th at COSI, but it's a new department, is my understanding. This is moving pretty quickly, but it's a new department that is specifically for computer science in the governor's office. So there would be 5 or more employees in the governor's office for a whole division for computer science in education, and then they're looking at, then there would be employees at ODE and then also at secondary or the college level version of ODE, that they would also have employees for computer science, and trying to basically go out and make a bid for having computer science be one of the leading things that we are known for in the state of Ohio. We're positioned well here because we have a strong computer science pathways and programs. We even have stories of alumni that have built their own pathways that are just a beautiful story that we might highlight at some point in time of our alumni that built their own. They met with me a long time ago and became, now they're a computer scientist at Apple, and they've just kind of built it. So we have that built into our fabric. However, this is looking at making that a graduation requirement. So that is a new level of expectation that we do not have now. So that will be August 30th. If you're curious to see what that final vote is, it's at COSI. So that's probably the closest legislation action to keep an eye on that I'm aware of right now. And then there's a lot that we're watching. Thanks.
Anyone else have any legislative to add? Okay. Okay, thank you, Jonathan. Next up is administrator commentary. Tracy, you're up again.
Just with the beginning of school, I wanted to just thank our administrative assistants. I get the privilege of getting to be particularly at the beginning of the day and at the end of the day, that first week of school in our elementary buildings in particular, where it is a big beat all the time. And the amount of, with grace and deftness and urgency and carefulness that those front office staff, but not just at our elementary buildings, at our, here at the high school as well and at the middle school, they do an incredible job. We always know that, I always feel like the secret to knowing what things are really happening is to ask them, who do I go to? What do I need? What do I do? But they are incredible professionals who care so deeply about our kids, who take so many questions and find answers for A through Z. And it is really a challenging time at the beginning of the year. I don't know that they ever have a downtime, but the beginning of the year is a particular ramp up. So just many thanks to them. We have several new systems. We have all kinds of things coming at them that they have to learn on the fly and be able to help and support, and they do a terrific job.
Todd, you made me realize I follow Tracy in this portion of the meeting every time.
But you're right up there with her.
I don't think so. No. Well, we had an amazing convocation and coming together in our Mason Momentum shirts on that day one, and I'm just really reflecting and thinking about, and there's so many people to be grateful for, but for our educators who really took the opportunity with our staggered start, with that sort of slower way, to intentionally live out our rocks. So we say personalized learning, the heart is the person. And we talk about building meaningful relationships, and your story matters. And it's not a given that when you start school, that you start by building relationships. You start by making sure students are talking to each other, that you're practicing some of the routines and not just telling. And those were the things that our educators really intentionally designed, planned for, worked together to make sure happened for our students. So hopefully they left, Dr. Cooper and I were out helping at dismissal at MI one day, and a student was biking home, or, how was your day? And he was like, it was awesome. That's what I think he was serious. It really was awesome, and that's what we want. You want them to leave and be just that excited to come back the next day. It doesn't just happen. It's not a given. And so just so grateful for that momentum that our educators are making for their students every day and for all of us.
Great. Thank you, Amy. Tanya?
No pressure. Tracy and Amy. I'm going to get right to it. I'm just really grateful for the quality of our new hires. After spending 2 days with them in new hire orientation, I am just super excited about the energy that they bring and the enthusiasm and the questions and their intent that they're going to bring to our common culture. So I'm excited to see what they do.
Thank you. Christine?
Yeah, I'm appreciative of the students for opening day because they were by far the stars of the show, and the energy that everybody felt. I mean, it was palpable in the room, but it continued. We had COVID fatigue these past couple of years, but I'm not seeing that. I'm seeing an energy and a readiness for what's next and for us to be looking forward instead of just trying to figure out what's our new normal. So it's just a really exciting time, I think, for our district to do great things.
Thank you. Todd?
I have to just recognize the operations team. When you talk momentum, everything in operations, from busing to lunch to enrolling students to facilities and renting to maintenance, they just all summer long are building up to that day. And it's just really cool to see it all take place, and it reminds me just the high quality staff that we have and a classified staff across the district. So I'm beyond grateful for all those folks.
And I will add that the buildings looked phenomenal.
Yeah,
over the summer.
our custodians, the waxed floors, I never thought I'd be so enthusiastic about waxed floors. But they're just beautiful. They are absolutely beautiful. If you get a chance to look at our waxed floors, they're better than anybody else's.
Yeah. It almost makes you want to not let anybody in and just.
That's right. I tell the kids, get off the floors.
Take off your shoes. Yeah, thank you. John?
I just wanted to share one of the things that if you go back to the last couple agendas, we've approved some comic care positions and some new staff filling those positions. I wanted to thank Lori Fox Allen and her team for putting that together. Thank Todd and the operations team for getting the central office building ready. One of my favorite Mesa moments of the year so far has been the first day of school when I drove back in after helping kids get off the bus at MEC, and there's little kids on our playground at central office. And so while I thoroughly enjoy the staff at central office, so we have a lot of fun together, I think one of the things we've been missing over the last couple of years has been kids in the building. So we due to COVID and some other things, we didn't have kids in the building over the last couple of years, but we had this new comic care program, and it's just been phenomenal to, as you come and go, you've got kids on the playground, or if you had a window open, you can hear them playing outside. So I think it really adds an element that we've been missing at central office. So grateful for that.
I agree. Thank you.
We talk a lot about our comic culture and how it's lived out. I will say I want to thank my team just for all the work you've done, but also all of our administrators, their families, our teachers' families. So not the folks that actually show up every day, but the folks that are supporting that. Because when we talk about momentum, it's all of that. It's not just us that show up and are grinding it out and getting it done, but we're here long hours, especially at the beginning of the year. And I don't know about everybody else, but we slept really well this weekend because we worked hard to just get this place going. And you're turning on the largest organization in Warren County all at one time. You just turn the key and boom, everybody shows up, whether you're ready or not. So just so grateful, and thanking our community for their patience as traffic patterns changed very quickly all of a sudden, and just all the support we had. And our safety team, Todd and I work closely with our police officers in the buildings, and they've just been really flexible. I know they have a lot going on with the tennis tournament and everything going on, but they've been present, they've been here. very active with us and making sure that our kids feel a sense of safety as they come back. And the other thing I'll say is there's so many just generosity moments. I was this weekend just at another one where we have a family just giving back to us at the JJ event that was taking place at Crossroads. It was a day of play, but you donate school materials and then they give those back to schools in their area. So it's just neat to see that constant cycle of generosity coming through in our community. Thanks.
Great, thank you very much. And next we'll do board commentary. Evan?
Well, I'll just add a quick thank you to everybody who had a hand in starting up school. I had a chance to see a brief part of the opening day, which was a ton of energy, and I agree that that look forward perspective that everybody had seemed to be there for the first time in a while, and so that's good. And it's really important. It should have happened 2 years ago to start looking forward, but it was hard. Now I saw that and I feel it. So, but I do appreciate everybody for that hard work, and that it always takes an extra lift. Nobody really understands what it takes, so we can highlight it when it happens in a small gesture of appreciation. So, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I think this board meeting has been about service, you know, from our gold medal recipients to our staff members who, I mean, you know, gave of their summers to get better in professional development, and the grounds crews and custodians who came in and made the place ready for students and staff members. So just grateful that we live in a community that prioritizes service to others. And making sure that we care for one another. I think that's the essential part of comic culture, right? And what we want to exude. You know, Jonathan does a great job of giving us an email on Sundays and just kind of recapping. And there was a little note in there that I just thought was great. And it was, you know, Marty Fish at the middle school wrote a grant, and we're going to get a esports lab for the middle school, right? And it just little things of care like that for a kid like mine who is insane about gaming, to have those experiences that we care about each other in that way. So grateful to serve alongside of all these great humans that do it. So just excited to get the year started and serve my community.
Well, people might be surprised to learn that we sometimes get constructive feedback from the community. Not everything is always positive and glowing from the perspective of some of our stakeholders. But the recent feedback I've gotten in that category gave me some, I guess, time to reflect and consider. This is, I guess, the 5th start of the school year that I've been on the board. And when I think back to the fall of 2018, August of 2018, coming into that school year as we were transitioning out of Western Row and we were moving kids around and we were renovating the middle school and MEMI. And then the start of 2019, we were still going through that and we were shuffling kids around and had a lot of moving pieces going on with that. And then the start of 2020 with everything that we had to do to get some kids in the buildings, facilitate online learning for other kids. Start of 2021, still the vestiges of that process kind of carrying over. And now the start of 2022. The comparison of things and concerns throughout the district, this feels like as normal a start to a school year as you could ask for, as you could hope for. And I'm just grateful for that. You know, warts and all, things that, you know, are still getting ironed out, long bus rides home, blast communications from our public information officer, all sorts of things that we don't, we're not naive to, and we are constantly reminded of, but it is nice to get back to sort of the first world problems and the things that, we are used to handling, and not some of those big kind of tectonic plates shifting that we've dealt with the last 4 years for sure. So grateful to have 2022 here and the start to the school year that we've had so far.
I would agree. My thought goes to where you were, Kevin, on the opening day for staff. It was a high-energy day. I didn't get one negative comment. I'm sure there was a couple of things behind the scenes that I didn't know about, but I didn't hear about it. I heard nothing but positivity. It was a great day, specific comments, and I'm just excited to do this year. And as you mentioned, Charles, get back as close to normal as we have been in a long time. I'm just excited to do it with this team that we have in place. So thank you for all that. With that, I will ask for a motion to adjourn.
Did you get
I'm sorry. I am.
Usually I'm like, I'm good, thank you.
Desiree, I will give you the honor of going last tonight.
I just really briefly, I listened to all of you commend your teams as I see they are so deserving. But I also want to point out that your leadership is why those teams work so well together. They work so well for the school. They, you have to like your job, and you have to like who you work for and who you work with to perform at that level. So I think you guys are the leadership that kind of just holds this organization to the standard that it is. Just when, there was that movement and with the principal this summer, and Jonathan's at the mountain going, don't worry, my team has a plan. And I'm like, of course they do. Like, it's just never a knee-jerk, like, we're not prepared and we don't have a plan. So I just wanted to point that out to all of you. Thank you for just being that glue in the prop for this wonderful school community that we have.
I agree. And now I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
Thank
All in
you.
favor?
John?
Yes.